What if I told you that the person you trust most, the one who knows your secrets, who smiles warmly when they see you, might secretly hold feelings that don't match their words? Not the kind of hatred you can see, not the kind that shouts in arguments, slams doors, or throws insults in the heat of the moment. No, this is something else. This is quieter, slower, more dangerous. It hides in plain sight. It wears politeness like armor. It slips into your life not through open conflict, but through subtle moments. Moments so small, so ordinary, you could almost miss them, but you don't, because something inside you notices. You feel it in the slight tightening in your chest when they speak, in the way your smile feels heavier when you're around them, in the strange, unshakable sense that something isn't right, even though they haven't said or done anything openly wrong. Carl Jung, the Swiss psychologist whose work still shapes how we understand the human mind, had a word for this hidden truth: the shadow. It's the part of us we try to bury, the envy, the anger, the pettiness, the unhealed wounds. We push them down so far we start to believe they've disappeared. But they don't. They wait. And eventually, they leak out in disguised ways. And when those disguised emotions are aimed at you by someone close, it can feel confusing. They're kind, supportive, harmless, but something in their presence drains you. This isn't about open hatred. It's about the resentment that hides behind care, jealousy that wears the mask of love, anger that slips out as a joke, control disguised as concern. And the truth is, if you know how to recognize the signs, you can see them clearly. There are 8 of them. 8 subtle clues that someone's heart may not match the words they speak to you. And I promise you, the 8th one is the most misunderstood, but also the one that reveals the truth more clearly than anything else. So stay with me until the very last second of this journey, because once you see these signs, you can't unsee them. And if you're here right now, it's not by accident. It means you're ready to understand something most people never do. So subscribe to MystiWave, and let's walk together, step by step, into the shadows we've all felt but rarely name. It often starts with something that seems harmless, something small enough to brush off at first. You're sitting at a cafe with someone close to you. The air smells of roasted coffee and cinnamon. Outside, rain taps against the window. Soft, steady, almost hypnotic. They lean forward, eyes warm, lips curled in a friendly smile. And then they say, "Remember that time you completely froze during your presentation? Oh, that was priceless. You should have seen your face." Your laugh comes late, awkward. The people at the next table chuckle politely, but something in your chest tightens. It's not just a random joke. It's a reminder of a moment you've worked hard to move past, a wound you've healed in private, and now it's on display again. Carl Jung would call this a form of projected hostility, a way for someone to release their own hidden resentment without having to admit it. And sarcasm is one of their sharpest tools. Because here's the danger. The more you laugh along, the more you silently tell them it's okay to keep going. Each joke plants a seed of doubt in your mind. Maybe I am too sensitive. Maybe I am ridiculous. Maybe they're right about me. And little by little, that seed grows. Not into truth, but into control. Sometimes you only see the pattern when you start to notice something else. You've been pouring yourself into a project for months. Every late night, every early morning, every ounce of focus has gone into making it work. Finally, you're ready. You share the news with someone close to you. Their eyes light up. You know what would make it perfect? Change the entire opening. Trust me, this will make it unforgettable. You hesitate. It's risky, but their confidence is so strong, you almost feel foolish for questioning it. So you do it. And the next day, it falls apart. The client rejects it. The audience doesn't respond. The opportunity slips away. When you tell them, they frown. Wow, I'm so sorry. I really thought it would help. But you notice something. Their voice sounds sorry, but their eyes don't. And deep down, you remember this isn't the first time their help has cost you something important. Carl Jung had a name for this too: covert sabotage. The kind that wears the costume of care, but carries the intent to hold you back. Not in a way that you can prove, not in a way that you can confront, but in a way that leaves you stumbling, just enough to keep you from getting too far ahead. Sometimes it's not about pushing you down. It's about making sure they're never behind. You share good news, a promotion, a personal achievement, a dream finally realized. They smile faintly, and then, without missing a beat, they tell you about something they did, something bigger, something better. Your moment vanishes. The conversation isn't about your joy anymore. It's about their comparison. This silent competition is exhausting because you can't name it without sounding petty.
And then there's the absence. Not the kind that's visible to everyone. Not the absence of someone physically gone for months or years. This is quieter, more intimate, and somehow it hurts more. It's the absence you feel when you need someone and they're simply not there. Imagine you've just gone through one of the most difficult weeks of your life. Your chest feels heavy every morning. Your nights are longer than your days. And deep down, you're hoping, almost expecting, that this one person will call, text, show up, anything. But they don't. The phone stays silent. The door never knocks. When you finally see them days later, they greet you warmly, maybe even hug you. They say, "I didn't want to intrude. I figured you needed space." The words sound reasonable, but your heart knows better. Because when they needed someone, you were there. You didn't ask for permission. You didn't worry about intruding. You just showed up. Carl Jung called this kind of pattern ego detachment. When a person pulls away emotionally, not because they're busy or distracted, but because they either can't handle your feelings or they don't want to. Sometimes the reason is deeper, darker. Sometimes it's because your pain or your joy stirs something uncomfortable in them. And when absence becomes a habit, it leaves a mark deeper than any words could. It tells you exactly where you stand without ever saying it. But sometimes the shadow doesn't hide behind absence. Sometimes it wraps itself in the warmest blanket it can find, the blanket of care. At least that's what it calls itself. They'll say, "I'm only looking out for you." They'll warn you not to take that opportunity, it's too risky. They'll caution you against moving to a new city, it's dangerous out there. They'll question the person you've chosen to be with, "I'm just worried about you." Every word sounds protective, but every word also plants doubt in your mind. Little by little, you stop trusting yourself. You start believing that they see something you can't, that without their guidance, you'll fall apart. And one day, you notice something. You haven't made a big decision in months without first asking for their approval. And if you ever try to push back, they act hurt, as if your independence is an act of betrayal. Carl Jung understood this deeply. He knew that a person who cannot control their own chaos will often try to control the people around them. And the easiest way to control someone is to convince them they can't survive without you. But when control doesn't work, some people choose a sharper tool. It doesn't start with confrontation. It doesn't start with anger. It starts quietly. You notice a shift in the way others treat you. Friends seem colder. Colleagues act differently. There's a subtle tension you can't explain. Until one day, you find out why. Someone you trusted has been talking about you. Not openly insulting you. No, that would be too obvious. Instead, they've been telling your story in a way that twists your intentions, adds shadows to your actions. They've been planting seeds in other people's minds, seeds of doubt, seeds of mistrust. And by the time you realize what's happening, those seeds have already started to grow. The worst part, they still smile when they see you, still act warm and supportive, still tell you they care. Carl Jung said it plainly. Some people try to find balance for their own deep feelings of inadequacy by lowering the image of others. If they can't rise, they'll pull you down, quietly, until you're no longer a threat. But not all shadow work comes in words. Sometimes it comes in silence. You tell them about something that lights up your soul. A dream you've achieved, a challenge you've overcome, and they barely respond. They nod vaguely, change the subject, glance at their phone. It's not that they don't hear you, it's that they don't want to hear you. That coldness isn't neutral. It's the quiet shade of jealousy. Your joy reminds them of what they haven't achieved, and instead of celebrating you, they retreat, leaving you standing in the echo of your own happiness. And finally, there's the one sign they can't hide, no matter how hard they try. Words can be rehearsed, tone can be faked, but the body tells the truth. The flicker in their eyes when you speak, the tightness in their jaw when you smile, the way their posture shifts ever so slightly away from you when you share something important. Carl Jung called this the involuntary revelation. The moment when the unconscious leaks into the physical, revealing the truth the person doesn't want to admit. The unconscious never lies. If you've recognized even a few of these signs, it doesn't mean you have to accuse, confront, or cut people off overnight. But it does mean you should listen to yourself. That quiet, almost invisible feeling you've been having, it's not paranoia, it's perception. Not everyone who stands beside you is truly with you. So protect your energy, protect your dreams, protect your light. And if you're still here, hearing these words right now, it means you're ready to see the unseen. So stay with us on MystiWave. Subscribe now, and let's keep walking together, deeper into the truths that change everything, one shadow at a time.